with Demanbase. We're going to be talking about Demanbase's participation in our upcoming B2B Sales and Marketing Exchange. Brandon, great to connect with you again.
Yeah, always a pleasure, Andrew. And I'm glad we finally got to do this LinkedIn Live.
Yeah, absolutely. We're getting close to the event. I'm really excited to have Demanbase back as a title sponsor of this year's event. The theme we're working with this year, given what's going on in the world, is creative fuel for the new revenue realities. I wanted to ask you, what are some of the creative ways that you at Demanbase are staying engaged with clients and prospects during the pandemic? Any other ways you've seen your clients achieving that? Why you can't be physically face to face?
Yeah, totally. So I think the first thing that we really have to consider is everyone is in a different spot right now, right? So everyone who was even, pretty far along in your sales process, you really did have to stop and you really did have to show up with empathy towards them, right? It's not just, all right, so you ready to buy now? You ready to sign on the dotted line? It's like, hey, how are you doing? Are you doing okay? Just showing that real human connection was big for us. So yeah, when we did make one mistake early on, and a few weeks in, we did send a heavy promotional email. And people were like, whoa, slow it down here. So I'm glad we made that, discovery early on. And then we shifted pretty quickly to, all right, how can we actually provide value for people? So we doubled down on content, actually, like top of funnel educational content that was like, all right, if you, like us, are struggling right now with pipeline, with meetings being pushed, with opportunities being stalled, here are some ideas for you to help move things along. Here are some resources for you. And just to let customers know that, hey, we're here for you. We're not going to shove sales messages down your throat. We understand. And kind of one of the things that, like you said, a lot of pretty much every physical event went away. One of the things that we transitioned to, and now we're seeing a few other companies do it too, is an at-home wine tasting event. So this was one run by Delaney and Angel on my team, and they sent bottles of wine to people with a nice little handwritten card in this nice box. And we had a sommelier on the Zoom with us. She helped pop the cork and did a whole tasting. And then we did breakout rooms where our executives were in each room and just kind of facilitating a nice discussion. Again, it's not a heavy sales message, but it's, hey, what are you guys seeing in the market right now? And let's just kind of come together as a community. And that got a great response because, one, who's going to say no to wine? And then two, it's just a lot of other sales and marketing leaders kind of coming together and supporting each other. So that's what we've seen.
We all need a little more wine these days. I think that just sounds authentic, and you mentioned empathy. Those are right on point. So thanks for sharing those. You mentioned thought leadership as well. We've always really enjoyed working with Demanbase on thought leadership around trends in B2B, ABM. We're excited at B2B SMX next week. You're going to be doing a lunch and learn. The title of it is intriguing. It's called But First Segmentation. Can you share a little bit about that session and why segmentation is so critical sort of at this time?
Yeah, absolutely. And so one thing we've seen right now is people really doubling down on ABM because you need to be a lot more targeted and thoughtful who you're going after right now. And that basically means you're doing ABM right. And a lot of those people who were kind of doing ABM and it was kind of working, it really forced them to also just do ABM even better right now. So that means one of the first things that means is actually figuring out, does our target account list still make sense? So for those companies highly impacted, like hospitality, like travel, like some of those industries, yeah, they're not looking to buy right now, right? Like those are some of the heaviest hit industries. Whereas on the other hand, you have companies like Zoom and Slack, telco companies, all them, like business is actually kind of booming right now because people are working from home, right? So it's all about figuring out who we're going after. So that's why segmentation matters so much. It is one of those foundational pieces of, I think not only ABM, but just like good B2B marketing these days. And there's that piece. There's like, who are we targeting in the first place? And then there's also kind of after we've defined our targeting, how can we segment these people into just relevant, groups, cohorts, or whatever, so that we can now deliver a specific message. So we're slicing and dicing the data to see, all right, who's trending on intent topics that we care about right now, or maybe who's downloading specific pieces of content on our first party sites, right? And then how do we segment them and then send relevant messages to them? So it's all starting with the people, and then figuring out what's that proper message, and then after that figuring out what's the right way to deliver that message, which is kind of just a little bit different than what like traditional demand gen marketing is about. That's usually about, let's create content first and then figure out who to send that to.
Yeah. One of the other things about ABM, obviously, it really requires that sales and marketing are in lockstep. And you guys have, back at Engagio and now part of Demanbase, you guys have really been out front of that. If it's really, account-based everything, and how do you do it in a collaborative way? We're also excited at B2B SMX. You guys are helping us with a session, creative title called "Did We Just Become Best Friends?" Kind of playing off of the Step Brothers movie, really creative approach. I've seen a preview of the session. It looks outstanding. Talk a little bit about, sales and marketing alignment has been sort of discussed forever, but why is it really finally taking hold, and what are some of the key elements to making it work?
Yeah, totally. So I love this session. Our VP of Growth, Brian Finnerty, does this with our VP of Sales Development and Sales Productivity, Jay Toole. I mean, first, those two naturally work together really well, and then putting them together in a presentation is amazing. They just work off of each other so well. But yeah, sales and marketing alignment, like we've heard this so much already over the past. Honestly, I was writing about it when I joined Engagio 4+ years ago, and we're still talking about it because I think it is like one of those things that's just naturally a little bit harder to do. Like everyone has bought into that theory, but actually putting it into practice has been hard. So there are a lot of tips, a lot of tricks, a lot of tools that we use at Demanbase and that we brought over from Engagio as well to make sure that, yeah, we are all on the same page and we are all rowing in the same direction. Sure, there's still going to be tension here and there a little bit, but I think that tension, as long as, you're open, you communicate, can be pretty healthy tension. So that sales and marketing and alignment piece is another one of those foundational pieces for, again, not just ABM, but just good B2B sales and marketing.
Yeah, absolutely. Great points. So you came from Engagio, which was more of a startup. Now that you've kind of merged with Demanbase, bigger organization, are you seeing that sales and marketing integration on a daily basis? What does it look like now that you're part of a bigger company?
Yeah, it's definitely harder with a team that's 4 times the sales and sales development team that you're used to. So yeah, I don't get as close and personal interactions as I used to with all the sales reps because it's harder to have that relationship. And also when at Engagio, the sales development team did report into me, into marketing, whereas now it actually reports into sales. But again, being aligned with them is so important. So we still do things like I meet with the sales development leader weekly. I meet with sales bi-weekly. And then we also have monthly meetings where where marketing actually gets to highlight some of the top SDRs and some of the top work that they're doing out there. So it's always a collaborative and communicative culture. And then there's always things like maybe we have one-off spiffs. And also one thing that we do quarterly that's actually going on this week right now is called Shark Week. And it's all about sales, marketing, and sales development coming together and just going after our target accounts and creating as much pipeline as possible. And there's always so much fun going around. There's a whole channel. There's a lot of memes. There's a lot of GIFs. There's a lot of people buying swag and wearing swag and posting that. So it just creates a real fun culture that everyone just kind of rallies around. And every time we set these lofty goals, we tend to hit them. So we bumped it up another 30% this quarter, and we're on pace to exceed that. So it's just getting everyone rowing in that same direction again. It's been great.
Yeah, that's great. I know it's one of the topics that they cover in that session. I'd seen
Yes.
That's really fun stuff.
Yep.
For clients that you're working with, prospects that they're struggling with this still of my sales team's over here, my marketing team's over here. What are some of the things that you recommend to sort of get started down the right path?
Yeah, so I think there are three real fundamental things that that the sales and marketing teams need to do. One is just make sure everyone's looking at the same data. A lot of times, sales is in Salesforce, marketing is in Marketo. They don't always match up, right? So when they don't, who's right? And then you just have an argument between sales and marketing. And that is one of the fundamental things that Engageo and now Demanbase actually fixes. Is it's that one source of truth. Everyone gets the same view of the data, so you're not arguing with what happens. Also, you are giving sales more insights into what marketing is doing, and vice versa. Marketing gets more insights into the activities that sales is doing after you create that initial engagement with an account. So yeah, it's getting all aligned on that data. And then two is also aligning around goals and metrics. So I love it when I see marketing teams being goaled and comped on more down funnel metrics. Yeah, like me, myself, my team, we are comped and we are goaled on pipeline. It's not number of leads. It's more speaking towards the quality of that engagement that we're creating. And then, so I just noticed that some of the best marketing teams out there have a real, focus on sales, and some of the best sales reps out there, really focus and understand marketing. So when they come together and when they have, metrics that align more properly, naturally, they're going to be on that same page. And then just kind of like I was mentioning, it's that open communication. Always be communicating with your team. My team knows that if they continue to see some objection out there or they're seeing some change in the market, they know that they can come to the marketing team and say, hey, this is what's happening out there right now. How can you help me get ahead of it? And then marketing is always going to them and saying, all right, I'm noticing engagement is down in this territory. How can we help you get that engagement up? Or, pipeline might be down in this territory. Let's brainstorm on how we can get that together. So again, it's that data, it's the metrics, and then it's that communication.
Awesome. So one of the other topics I know that they addressed in that session, as I saw in the preview, was intent data and how it factors in for both sales and marketing. It's a hot topic for us. We hear a lot of our readers asking about it. Give me your perspective around why intent is becoming so critical to success in ABM.
Yeah, totally. So intent coming from Engageo when we didn't do intent, kind of more on the outside. Yeah, we saw this big kind of trend in intent data, 3 or 4 years ago. But a lot of people were still wondering, okay, like, what do I actually do with this? Like, it's cool, it's fun, it's new, it's interesting, but I'm not sure what to do. And then just probably over the last year to 18 months, we saw it really surge again. And that's because I think people are figuring out what to actually do with that, how to actually take action based off of their intent data. So things that we're doing are like making sure we are matching that third-party intent data with our first-party engagement data, and then figuring out, all right, what does that actually mean? How can I actually act on that? And then giving it to sales in a very relevant, timely manner. So we can now say, hey, sales, these accounts are trending on these specific topics. And then you can actually give them that trending score as well. And then say, on top of that, here's some of the first party stuff that they've done. They downloaded this ebook. They looked at this page on the website. They attended this webinar. And then that gives them a lot more context to then start to reach out to those accounts in a very relevant manner. So right now, intent is very hot again. And it's one of the biggest things that, we talked about this in our benchmark study that we did together is, it's probably the hottest thing that came up in the last 16 to 18 months.
Yeah, agreed. The other area I wanted to talk to you about was, because ABM is still relatively new, a new discipline, organizations are putting a lot more emphasis into it. There's a lot more of a need for education. So we're really excited as part of B2B SMX to be working with you. You guys are going to be offering your certification program. For those that aren't familiar with it, can you talk a little bit about how the certification program is structured and what people can expect if they're going to take advantage of it next week?
Yeah, totally. So I love this certification because we actually are putting it together. We put this together with the ITSMA, who is actually the people who initially coined the term ABM, account-based marketing. So they are total OGs. They know what they're talking about. They work with some of the biggest and smartest companies out there when it comes to ABM. So we put this certification really just to educate the market. And that's what we aim to do with a lot of our content. Like, you see a lot of people who are just purely pushing their message and their agenda on people. Like, the way we see it is like a rising tide lifts all boats. So let's put together kind of that gold standard certification where people they know that they can come and get the best ABM education out there. And then so for B2B SMX, we are offering that foundations course for free. So if you are going to that, you should absolutely go to the session. And then we do have higher advanced level certifications too. So once you pass that first certification, there are other options. If you had been doing ABM for a little bit now and just kind of want to take it to the next level.
Awesome. All right, this has been great. A final question I have for you. So Demanbase is planning a major event coming up in a few weeks to debut its new combined platform following the Engagio acquisition. Give us a sneak peek. What can people expect on that launch?
Yeah, totally. So I'm so excited about this. This is bringing together the best of what Engagio and Demanbase have to offer and bringing it into one platform. I remember 4 years ago when I was interviewing for my role at Engagio, and John Miller was trying to sell me on his vision for the platform. And he was telling me sales and marketing teams are going to work together. They're going to look at all the same data. Sales and marketing are going to be able to orchestrate plays easily across platforms, and everything's going to come together in this one platform. But I was like, John, you really think this is going to happen in 5 to 7 years? Well, it turns out we're both wrong. Here we are 4 years later, and that really is becoming a reality. So this is just that one unified platform that really offers everything that you need to get up and running with ABM and to really succeed if you're one of those advanced organizations. So this is a look under the hood. This is the first time that we're actually showing this new platform to anyone. So if you are interested in taking a look at that, just go to demanbase.com and you can find it right on the homepage. And it is, like you said, November 11th. So super excited about that one.
Awesome. Yeah, I recommend people mark their calendars for that. Brandon, thank you so much for joining me today and give us a little preview into what you guys are going to be doing over the next our event and beyond. So we're excited for it.
Yeah, always a pleasure. Thanks, Andrew.
All right. Thanks, everybody.